Well, there you are. Again. Charlie Greer podcast. I do this every day. Today. So, Katy Perry's eye and her road case. What is up with her eye? Before we start, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, information is in the description for Zelle. Let's do this. So, Katy Perry's eye. I don't know if you've seen the footage. What was up with her eye? She's just kind of, huh? I mean, I'm not making fun. I'm kind of worried about Katy Perry. Um, what was that? Was she faking it just to kind of get? Because you get to a certain level, you'll do something like that to get views or whatever. Twitter, like I don't even know what they call it. Or was it something worse? She got like a problem? Does she have a stroke or something? I hope not. I'm not a fan. I couldn't even name one of her songs. Like I don't know. I'm a rock and roller. But yeah, that's strange. I was watching videos and people were saying all kinds of crazy stuff. Could it be that she's got like a neurological problem? I mean, again, I'm not making fun. Like, you get to the doctors, yeah. MRI, EKG, you need it. Stick you in that tube for an hour and then beep, beep, beep. Yeah. So yeah, people are saying all kinds of crazy stuff like, oh, it's this, I don't know. I'd recommend you go watch the video. And her eye, and she's tapping it, and it comes open, and and then she kind of struts away. Could it be for attention? Could it just be like, again, you do something weird like that, you're going to get on the news. You're going to be all over Twitter and all this other stuff. I guess she was doing her residency in Vegas when it happened the other night. It looks weird. If she faked it, she's a great actress. It just looks, her other eye looks weird too. It's all open and because things will happen to you on stage. I was in bands. I've had my teeth knocked out. I've been knocked out a couple times. Got my arm broke on stage. Everything you could think of. Performed sick, like go behind the monitors and puke, because you had to. The show must go on, Chad. Is that what it is? Is she kind of, or is there a glitch in the matrix or some kind of? She's. I don't know. Comment below if you've seen the video. If not, you got to see it. It's weird, strange, and unusual. Oh, so her road case. So I put a different picture. I usually use the same picture on all my videos on YouTube. This one I use because it shows the pink the pink road case. That was Katy Perry's that I ended up with. Strange story. So it's that pink road case. If you look at the, click on my video, that's that road case I got. That was Katy Perry's. And it's for your amp. You want to protect your amp. You're throwing it here and there. It's on wheels. It's heavy though. I mean, and then also you can use it as a platform to get your amp up, because that road case is for a 112 combo. And what I did is I just stenciled my name, spray painted it. Old school style. Go to the hardware store, get some stencils, tape them together. Bam, black spray paint. There you go. All sloppy looking. That's what I like. So yeah, this is like 2010. This is like the last run of gigs I did for my last album. So I would go through amps. People spill beer on your amps. They get stolen. They need, you're just in LA gig. It's a thing. You're throwing it in and out of your van or whatever you got. So I needed an amp to play live with, but for cheap, because I'd rather have like more expensive amps. But again, you can't, tube amps, you got to replace the tube. You got to keep it up. And I'm, hey. So at the time I was using these Marshall valve states, which I said I'd never use, but they're pretty good if you know how to EQ them. On the lead channel, you got to turn that treble down, turn the gain down, and then crank up the volume, and then it'll get kind of throaty and mid-range. And hey, you could gig with it. You'll get by. It's a perfect, but it's kind of close what you want. So I found this dude on, I think it was Craigslist. He was selling, it was like a Marshall VS65, which is like a 65 watt, 112 speaker, 2-channel, and this Rode case. And he was not that far from me. I was in Pasadena. I think he was like in Whittier. It wasn't too far. I mean, in LA, it could be, so he was honest. He was like, hey, the amp is kind of, touchy. Yeah, I'm used to that. I can tighten this and that and clean the pot, whatever I can do. So I go and meet him. He's like, hey, this Rode case was Katy Perry's. I was like, who's Katy Perry? Like, again, this is like 2010, maybe 2009. I don't even know. Like, yeah, she's a pop star. And what happened is she, her manager, I guess the guy that I was buying it from worked at this Rode case place. The manager had pulled like a Spinal Tap. He went there and didn't give the right dimensions and custom made. It's a pink case. You never see pink Rode cases. I mean, honestly, who would want a pink Rode case? Well, I do because it's on the cheap. So he's like, yeah, they made a mistake. I guess her AC 30 was bigger than, or an AC 15, whatever it was. It didn't fit. So he's like, I'm not taking them, like you made the mistake, dude. So they're stuck with these pink Rode cases that they had custom made. It's kind of expensive to get those made, especially in pink. So he's like, I got it. Just gave it to me or whatever. And I'll throw it in. You're basically buying this amp. And it was a cheap deal. I think it was like $250. I was getting the Marshall and this Rode case. All right. Hey. Again, I didn't know who Katy Perry was. Then I thought, man, this is kind of tacky enough just to be cool. Like, you know what? Yeah, I'll use this pink Rode case. Why not? I mean, my others have been black or white, but hey, I don't just pink. Elvis, rock and roll. Of course, I got it home, and I went to the hardware store, got some stencils. You tape it on there, put it on the side, and spray paint your name on it so nobody steals it. Or if they do, they know where you're. And also, it's advertisement as well. And again, when you're playing, you take it out, put the top back on, then you set your amp on the Rode case, so you get it up off the ground. And those Marshall valve states, people, again, I used to make fun of it, but man, they're pretty good. If you know what you're doing, you can get them modded. You can pull out that little chip for the chorus or reverb, so it sends a signal straight to the preamp or whatever. And because it's like it's a hybrid amp. It's got like a solid state power amp and then a tube preamp. They got like one little tube in there, something like that. I road dogged that amp. I remember one of the last gigs I did, people were like, is that fake? Are you using that just as a joke? And then there's something else behind. They were looking around the States and like, no, I've just got that thing cranked. Again, I told them, like, turn down your treble, turn your gain down, because they're a little hot. They're a little trebly. They got a little too much bite. They'll start feeding back. But if you do it right, again, I'm working with what I have. They were shocked at my tone. I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to go get one. Yeah, dude, I've been using them because what I usually use was a Marshall JMP, like 50 watt, like late 70s, early 80s tube 50 watt. But they're expensive, man. They're hard to deal with. You got to get them. Again, if you're moving them around and the tubes are breaking, this, that, so I had to find something that's kind of like that. So I use these valve states. So that case, Perry Katy's case, I bought a Marshall VS Valve State 65, and I gigged with it. Shit, I did my last gig was with that live because I quit performing in like 2010. This is right at the end of when I quit playing live. 2010, 2011. That's when I started teaching vocal lessons and singing lessons. So that picture that I put up is Katy Perry's Rode case. And the strange thing about this, I saw that picture. I was in my file. I was like, oh, you know what? I should tell a story about that Rode case. And then I saw Katy Perry's Eye video. Like maybe I could combine the two and come up with something interesting. Yeah, and then I sold that Rode case to some guy. He was in a band. He lived in like San Gabriel Valley, maybe Rancho Cucamonga. And I sold him that Rode case. And then like a year later, because I used to sell a lot of gear, a year later or so, I was selling something. Now it turned out it was him. I was like, hey, man, you bought my Rode case. He goes, yeah, dude, I didn't even cover up your name. I just turned it back. I still, one side is your name and the other side is like my band's name. Like, cool. And he was like, yeah, man, it's bad luck to cover up other bands. I was like, really? I'd never heard that. Maybe that's why those road cases have all these, it's like some kind of superstition. And I forgot who he was. He used to be in a band. He used to be somebody. Yeah, LA's a little, it's small. It's smaller than you think as far as like the scene or whatever's going on. And if you have seen Katy Perry's Eye video, what do you think? Comment below. What's going on with that? Was she faking it just to get like some attention? And again, is she on a down slope where she needs like to get more? I don't know. I mean, I'm not into. I'm in my 50s, man. I'm not into whatever. Is she so popular? Seems like something neurological is going on. She's got like something. Something's afoot. Her eyes, it's creepy. Or she's signaling. She's doing some kind of weird secret society signal to the other people that understand those things. I mean, I don't know. Because I was watching these videos about it. Man, they're all over the place about that. Well, she did that. It's because of that. Oh, see, pardon me. Could be. I mean, it's speculation. Hearsay. I mean, she was faking it. Then she did, again, a great job of scaring everybody. Was it her kind of a joke? I mean, I don't know. Thinking I'm not making fun of Katy Perry. She might have like a neurological problem. She might need some, again, an MRI, a CAT scan, or, could be. I've heard things about certain celebrities that they are into kind of weirdo. I'd rather not talk about it here because I just don't know. You hear like all these rumors and stuff. I mean, I lived in LA for 24 years, and I know that there's crazy shit that goes on. But I never got to that level where they're actually, I saw like, what I mean? I mean, I saw some strange stuff, and I knew, but that's a different level when you're, world famous pop star. I was like underground, lowbrow, rock and roll, 3-chord, playing clubs, LA clubs, which are probably the best clubs to play. Fun. But I think something's up with her. I mean, there's been all this weird stuff, and she does all these weird things on stage. Could that be what it is? It's just another. Is she just kind of like leaning into those rumors? Like, oh, I heard these rumors and I'm doing this and the other. Let me just kind of. Could that would be what it is? Or is she ill? Or she just got some kind of, because a lot of them are having weird eye problems. Wasn't Justin Bieber, didn't he had the same thing going on? What is that? Could it be just like doing too much of something or other, or, drugs, or who knows? Or is it just like this burnout? You're just exhausted, nervous exhaustion, whatever. You're on the road. That's tough, man. It don't matter what you, even as nice as you've got it. Say you've got like really nice tour buses and jets and this and that. You're flying every day. You're in a different time zone. You're here. It's rough. When I was in my bands, I couldn't wait to get in the van and you're going to go. Man, it's brutal. We never really toured. We do like, here or there, going around the state. We weren't like out for weeks, months on end. We stayed like in the Midwest, and we'd have like during a week, we might have like 5 to 7 gigs. Sometimes we're playing every night. Sometimes we're here in Detroit, Wisconsin, Indiana, all over Illinois, Missouri, wherever. We used to play Terre Haute, Indiana. My last gig with Love Engineer, my band, we were in Champaign-Urbana, was in Terre Haute, Indiana, at this big like VFW hall. Big gig. And of course, we were drinking like sailors on shore leave, and it was an awesome gig. I had a good time. Some guy made me a doll of myself that looked nothing like me, and he made me a mixtape. Cool, hey. And it was for some kind of it was put on by some bikers. It was like a benefit, so they paid us to play their benefit for some other biker who'd crashed or something like that. A lot of people. There must have been thousands of people. And that was my last. That was in '95, maybe. One Quit Love Engineer. That was the last gig I did with them. It was in Terre Haute, Indiana. But yeah, the eye. I don't know. Seems weird. Seems like maybe she should cancel a gig or two and go to the, take some rest, get some B12, something. And the road case. I wish I had that road case still. Not that it even was Katy Perry's. I just thought it was cool. It stuck out on stage. It was pink. It's just like, I don't know anybody else had pink road. Maybe the New York Dolls back in the day. Is that where she got that from? Yeah. I don't think she ever knew that I had that road case. And that is such a Spinal Tap thing to do, her manager, to give the wrong dimensions to and then blame the people who made it. And they're like, hey, the guy told me we got this, we got the dimensions that you wrote down. No, it wouldn't pay for them. So the guy got it. He used it. He wanted to sell it on the cheap. And I think I drove to Whittier. I think the guy was in Whittier somewhere. Not too far away from Pasadena. I got it. Then I used it. It's like a weird rock and roll world or music world. You got gear here and there. This Love Engineer, my old band, I talked about playing Terre Haute. We needed road cases, and we ended up going somewhere. It was in Champaign. Like, this place had a bunch of gear. And we got these old Peter Gabriel's old road cases. I mean, a bunch of them on the cheap. They were white, and they had like a Peter Gabriel logo on it. And hey, we didn't care. I like Peter Gabriel, shit. So we'd have them on state Peter Gabriel's road cases. I love it, your gig. They're like, what are you guys doing? Well, that's what we could afford. That's what we did. You use what you got, We didn't steal them. We had a bunch of them. We had them for everything. And we used them, of course. They're on a wheel. They protect gear. And people are not likely to, you could lock them. Just people steal your shit. Our stuff had been stolen on stage. I've had stuff, my jacket, my everything. You're on stage, and our band house got robbed when we were on stage one time. People steal. And amps go out. I've blown somebody on stage in front of people. I've blown tubes. That's why I quit using tube amps. I used to use Fender tube amps, Marshall tube amps, and I was just like, what the? Stop the song. And last time it happened to me, luckily the band that was opening for us, this is a Mr. T's Bowl in Highland Park, LA. Came running up and was like, hey, I heard your amp blow. I was like, you picked that up? Yeah. He goes, let me go grab mine. And it was just behind the stage. So they took about 5 minutes. He said, move mine, power his up, let it warm a bit, plug it in, boom. Granted, I had like a different little, it wouldn't have sounded, but I got through the gig. Thank you, whoever your name is. And then you have to, like, every time you want to retube an amp, it costs like $100, $150 for the tubes. Then you have to have some dude that's going to knows how to bias the dude, have to get all that together and bias it, make sure it's all cool and ready to go. I was like, I can't do that. I got to figure out some way to, because I was always blowing I cranked my amp, and and this, the heat from the stage and the lights, amps go through a lot. There's in the ventilation, it might get hot, and those tubes are they're vacuum tubes. You can smell them. They're glowing red. They'll catch fire. Shit. Of course, you want like a good tube amp, but that's why I found those valve states. They're from like the early '90s. Those Marshall valve states. Again, they're solid state power amp, tube preamp. And the best, I usually want a 212 amp, but then just because Hollister, I was like, wait a minute, let me try one of these 112s. That's 65 watts, and I'll just crank that thing. It's just, And that's what I did my last gig with. I mean, again, people were shocked that I was using that on stage because everybody's a hipster, wanting to look cool. I am with a shitty $250 amp, um, headlining a club. And they came up like, dude, that's for show. That's a trick. Where's your real amp? I was like, that is my real amp. It's just Mike. That's what you heard. No, there's no way. Yeah, way. That's what I was using. And that by that last gig, that amp was puttering out. It probably had a new, because tubes only have I think like 100 hours, maybe cheaper tubes, maybe 50 hours. So you let it warm up a bit before you go on, and then afterwards you want to cool down. It's just a thing. They're hot, they're cold, they're hot. It's raining. You're in the back of the, you're dropping it, bang. Things happen. You need upkeep on your amps. That's why I had that road case. That's why you need a road case. The road case will take a lot of that banging and and you can roll it. You can literally pull it. It's got two handles. You can sit on it and have somebody push you around. Hey. Maybe you don't. If you're a local band and you're not really doing that much, you probably wouldn't need road cases. But if you're going here and there and everywhere else, you're going to need some road cases. You're going to, you might need Katy Perry's road case. In my instance, I didn't know who Katy Perry was. I didn't care. I'm not into all that like pop and whatever. I'm just a 3-chord rock and roller, man. Just get out there, crank it, no pedals, straight into the amp, crank it and go. It's not for everybody. Like I've said this before, if you want to hear one of my last music video I released, YouTube, Charlie Greer, Pity Now, PITYNOW, Pity Now. That was the last single I released off my EP that came out in 2008 called Turn Me On Dead Man. And what I did was I would release, you release an album and you want to promote that for about 2 years. You want to tour. What I was doing was actually touring around LA County. You could just play in everywhere. Playing in Hollywood. You could be playing in the San Fernando Valley, San Gabriel Valley, the coast, Orange County, everywhere. It's like you're on the road kind of. Then you have your places you want to play. I played the Rainbow. I played the Viper Room, all that. The Rainbow, you actually have to do an acoustic show. And great times playing the Rainbow. Viper Room, really small. Like the elitist kind of, unfortunately for us, an A&R for Capitol showed up that night. It was one of our worst gigs we did. And after the show, he's like, oh yeah, he was interested in my band, but he caught us on a bad night. And he's like, yeah, he knew. He's like, yeah, he caught me on a bad night. He's like, oh man, come on now. You should have been here last week when we were at. What are you going to do? Those things happen. You just got to move on with your life. So comment below. Do you think that Katy Perry is having some kind of a breakdown? You think that she's like in need of help or something? Is there any doctors that would see that and go, oh, I recognize that. That's something. And how she was hitting her eye, like she was going like this and then hitting her eye and open it and then oh yeah. Like she's been dealing with that. And she was kind of up there, like kind of peacocking a bit, like, don't you know your eyes? What? That's weird. Again, I don't want to point the finger. I don't want to be like, making fun of Katy Perry tonight, sorry, Katy Perry, pop star, dead at age. No, I don't want to be that dude. I don't want, I feel for her. Pray for Katy Perry. I mean, shit. I don't see anybody, come on. And I hope she's doing good. I heard it happened like she was at a Vegas residency. They do these residencies in Vegas now. I hear they pay pretty good doing a Vegas residency. Was it just fatigue? Because I know in Vegas, you might have to do like 2 shows a night, night after night after night, And the lights, you can't even see the crowd. It's just this big mass of light. You might see the few people, but you can't see. It's in your hair and hot. And I almost had my hair caught on fire from lights. These old school in the 80s, they had these like, you can't see. You can hear and feel the crowd, but it's horrible. You get light blindness after a gig. You might not be able to. I mean, that's why my eyes are all messed up. All the gigs I've done. In 1993, when my band Love Engineer was at the peak of our whatever we were doing, I did over 150 gigs that year. That's brutal. And I didn't have a tour bus or anything. We had like a van or two, and most of them were local, but most of them we were going all over. Mostly like an hour, 2 hour drive, maybe up to 5 to 6 hour drive. Not make enough, just enough to get by. Sometimes you get ripped off; they don't want to pay you. It ain't glamorous, man. You gotta have the love for your. And you meet other bands, and you meet other people, and some gigs are good. Some gigs are awesome. Then some are like, oh man, like you'll be in like Peoria, Illinois. Huh? Just, oh God, let's get this over with. Everywhere. You're playing all over. Here, there. Got to the point where we were like, a lot of time, we would be out of town. We wouldn't even play locally because we were just playing everywhere. You get tired of it. You get to the point where like, man, I'd rather be in the studio. I like to write music. At first you're like, yeah, live, but that travel, especially going from like where I was at Champaign, Urbana to like Detroit for like one gig, or Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or first you're in Detroit, then Wisconsin, then you're in Chicago. Huh? Why didn't you guys make it like a linear? Because we had people booking by then we had like a not even a management, somebody booking our gig. Because at first you book your own gigs. Everybody in the band, we got it here and there. Then we got to the point where we signed for this place in Chicago, and they would give us an itinerary, like, hey, you got to be here. And we had like what do they call that? Like, it's not in advance, but like a guarantee. Like, we're guaranteed X amount of money, food, booze, whatever it is. And then after that, we get, if we, hit the goal or whatever, we get more money. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And sometimes you do, and then you brought roadies and girlfriends and whatever, and you got an entourage, and you drink. You owe them money. We owe you money? Well, okay. Well, I guess we did drink the keg dry, and every bottle of Jack Daniels, you are fine. We'll pay you. And you have to. You're not allowed back. So like, look, we owe you $700. You drink $1,000 worth of booze. What we did, I guess we did. Here's $300. Here's our advance. You're supposed. Sometimes we end up even. It was rock and roll. It was the 80s. It was the 90s. So times have changed. So yeah, I love that road case. I wish I wouldn't have sold it. It's out there somewhere. The guy claimed my name is still on it. He just turns it backwards so you don't see it. That he had a superstition that he'd heard that you can't cover up another band's name or it's bad luck for your band. Okay. Is he somewhere playing that? From the back of the stage, can you still see my name on that pink road case? Perhaps, maybe. Does he even still did he sell it to some other person that, I don't know. But again, the image I used for the podcast, that's it. That pink road case with my name on it. That's the one I'm talking about. That was Katy Perry's. Her management had it built. They never used it. Had it built and then gave the wrong dimensions. It's like Spinal Tap, where they give the wrong dimensions for the Stonehenge. It's supposed to be big and it's actually small, because instead of feet, they used inches or something. Something like that. He gave the wrong dimensions for her AC-15 or AC-30 Vox AC. It's an amp, British amp, that are awesome. They're warm, and yeah, I like Voxes. So let me know what you think. Was Katy Perry's eye just kind of, was she faking it? That's what you do. Like you'd want it, maybe she needs more attention for her residency in Vegas. You do something, go out there and. Does she need is she having neurological problems? Is she just like, dehydrated? That's what happened. You'd be dehydrated not drinking enough water. You're sweating, man. You sweat a lot on stage. You're burning electrolytes, and you need a protein. And was that it? Again, pray for Katy Perry, man. We don't want it, any artist out there following their dreams. Hey, I'm all for it. Again, I'm not a fan, but I'm also not, I got a heart. I feel for people. I got empathy. I know how hard it is to be an artist, especially out there doing what she's doing. It's brutal. It is tough. It's like being in like basic training or something. Your days are long and you're tired. And of course, when you get on stage, you get that hit of, adrenaline and energy. And then afterwards, you're just drained. You might need oxygen, man. So don't be too hard on Katy Perry. Comment below. Look, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, it's in the description for Zelle. I do this every day, rant and rave like a madman. So I'll be back tomorrow. But I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.